Okay, Volume 5, Bible Story by Arthur S Maxwell. And my book has the original jacket on it, and these books are 70 years old. And this book has a lady and a child, or a girl, waving to a husband on a chariot. And we are at Part 3, Story 8, Heaps and Heaps of Blessing. That's where we're at. Okay? Filled with joy over the turn of had taken, the people streamed out of Jerusalem with their minds made up to put an end to idol worship once and for all. They went through all the cities of Judah, breaking images into pieces, smashing altars, until they were utterly destroyed them all. This done, Hezekiah suggested that the people start paying tithe again to support the priests and Levites and the work on the house of God. Gladly they agreed to do so. All were so happy about the wonderful reformation taking place that as soon as the king's wishes were known, the children of Israel brought in abundance the first fruits of corn, wine, oil, and honey, and of all the increase of the field, and the tithe of all things brought they in abundantly. Okay, so they brought all this stuff. The corn, the first fruit, the corn, the wine, oil, honey, and whatever was increased in their field, they brought it to the priests and the Levites. Because of all this, they brought in the tithes of oxen and sheep, the tithes of holy things which were consecrated unto the Lord their God, and laid them up in heaps. So they did the same, just piles and piles. Never had anything like this have been seen before, at least not since the days of Solomon. Right from the start, there was too many, of the regular, too, there was too much for the regular places of storage. In the third month, they began to lay the foundation of the heaps and finished them in the seventh. In other words, for 4 months the people kept bringing their tithes and gifts until at last there were heaps and heaps and heaps all over the place. Hearing what had happened, the king went to see for himself. And when Hezekiah and the prince came and saw the heaps, they blessed the Lord and his people of Israel. The priests blessed the people too, for this was the first time in years that they had enough to eat. And this great store, said Azariah, the chief priest, Azariah, Azariah, the chief priest, to the king. It is that much is left after the priests and Levites had eaten to the fill. And then it has a double page, and it says Harry Anderson is the painter. And yep, it's oil. Definitely oil, because I can see the strokes. And he uses bright colors too, because the purple is bright. It's a two-page. Look at it in front, see? And 1950s, their purple was kind of bright, kind of a more pinkish purple than anything. So that's how you kind of know when they're the 50s. Okay, let's get back to the story. And it says, as for the dear people, they did not lose by their generosity. No, indeed. While they gave heaps and heaps of their good things to God, He gave them heaps and heaps of blessing in return. Now the questions arose as to what should be done with all that the people had brought in. Ever practical, Hezekiah gave orders that storehouses should be built within the temple grounds. This being done, and the Levites brought the offerings and the tithes and the dedication faithfully. Okay, that explains the movie. Okay, of the show that I've been watching. Okay, let's get back to the story. I hit a rabbit trail. Okay, there was so much stuff of all kinds that Hezekiah appointed a committee of 12 men to look after it, with Con, Conan, 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 Conana, Conana, Cononiah as chairman. Conan, Conanan. Okay, it's a funny word. As years passed, it seemed as if everything that King Hezekiah started was a success. No doubt it was because he wrought that which was good and right and truth before the Lord his God. And in every work that he began in the service of the house of God, and in law and in commandments, to seek his God, he did it with all his heart and prospered. That sort of program, that sort of program will spell success for anybody. Then it has a painting at the bottom. It's modern day, or modern for 1955. Of I actually remember that a thing like that we had one time. It's of them putting coins in a church, in a little church box or penny bank that had a church on it. We actually had one a long time ago. Even in these animated little Davy and Goliath things, they had that. And yeah, I remember it a long time ago. Remember, I hadn't opened this book, read this book since I was little. And, well, our set, we read them every day, but okay. But let's get back. So that was the end of part 3. And that was part 3, story 8. And that was the end of part 3. Awesome. Which means a break is here. So we're going to break. And then we got the next part. And there's probably more crazy stuff in here. Or different kind of stuff, not crazy. So we're going to break. And we'll see you in a bit.